Today we discuss about the core teaching of the Buddha. So we are going to learn some new terms. So those core teaching includes feathers, chain, or bow, formation, unwholesome mental state, the three poisons, the influx, the cankers, and the samsara cycle rebirth, the six sense organs, the five aggregates, the dependence organization, the 12 cleanse condition, the middle ways, four noble truths, and four paths. So those are the terms that we will go over from time to times. So today we will talk about the Four Noble Truths. The first one is the true suffering. The second one is the cause of suffering. The third is cessation of suffering. And the fourth is the path to the cessation of suffering, including the Noble Eightfold Paths. So they divided into three categories. The first one is the wisdom, includes in the right understanding and right thought. The second one is ethical conduct, including right speech, right action, right livelihood. And the third one, mental disciplines, includes right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So these are the Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Paths. This is the general chart. And here we go in detail about the Four Noble Truths. The first one, what we call symptoms, the nature of suffering. In the Pali called dukkha. So of course, depend upon how we see, somehow we live is to suffer. It doesn't mean in the passive way, in the pessimistic way. So this is the nature of suffering, the suffering of our physical body, our mentality, and so forth. We will go over later on. The cause suffering in Buddhist view, those cause in the desire, greed, hatred, and stupidity, and there is a possibility of cruel or to end the suffering. That means suffering can be overcome. And the last one is the description, the way leading to the cessation of suffering. So these are the Noble Eightfold Paths. So let's say if you're sick, let's say if you have stomachache, that's a symptom. So you go to see a doctor, and the doctor will say, okay, the cause of your stomachache is your spoiled food, or something wrong with the food, right? And of course, probably because you may have eaten too much. And the doctor said, well, the responsibility that I can help you out to overcome that stomach problems. And if you trust me, I can give you description so that you can buy the medicine to cure that stomach problem. So the Buddha like the doctor. So he indicate the symptom, and he indicate the cause of this problem, and he say that, well, suffering on the side of the suffering is the happiness. So nothing lasts forever. So, and if we trust him, we follow his prescription to transform the suffering into happiness. That's what we have the Noble Eightfold Paths. Now here we talk in detail about the first Noble Truths, and here we know that in all tradition, in all religious tradition, they mention about the truths. Yeah, in Buddhist views, those truths should be truths in the past, up to the present moment, and the future. That's mean true. If some things were true in the past but untrue now, if some things is untrue in the past and true now, it won't be a truth. For example, let's say in the past, uh, uh, people could get married early, 15 or 16-year old, but then in modern age, we cannot do that, especially in the West. If you want to get married officially and formally, you have to wait until you are 18. So in the past it's true, but now it's not true, right? So that is not the truth. So it can be changed. But the truth in Buddhism is that everything should be true in the past, up to the present, and up to the future. So here, look at this here: birth, aging, and death. So we were born, we get older, we have some kind of illnesses, and one day we have to go. So these are the truth. It's been true in the past. It's true now. It will be true in the future because everyone was born, everyone getting older, everyone has some kind of illnesses, and one day we have to go. No exception, regardless of who we are. Whether we follow different traditions, we have different philosophy, or we rich or poor, and so forth. So these are the truths about physical body all the times. That's why the Buddha says that the truth of suffering of our body. When we're born, we don't want to be older, but we're getting older. We don't want to be sick, but we get sick. And we don't want to pass away, but one day we have to go. So those are the suffering of the physical body. And the next one is, he said that sorrow, lamentation, pain, distress, desperate, are the mental suffering. So for example, if someone passed away, someone that we love, they pass away, we feel sorry, we feel lamentation. If we fall out, we feel painful physically. If someone says something about hurt negatively, we feel painful. And sometimes we feel distressed, sometimes we feel desperate, and sometimes we don't like to associate with the one we call enemies, and sometimes we don't like to part away from our loved one, especially from members. If they go far away or even they pass away, we feel suffering, right? And especially this one here, if we don't get things that we want to, we suffer. That's all the mental suffering. Now let's go in detail here. See that there is examples, example of suffering, economic crisis. For example, let's say if we put our money in the bank, a certain account, or even stock and so forth, suddenly everything goes down south, and that's why we suffer, right? And when here, like the stock go up and somehow it fall down, we suffer. And when we hurt our feet, our stomach, our arm, and so forth, we suffer here. This show how we suffer because of our mental frustration, our mental confusion. So here, the drug suffering, the first one you see that the physical suffering, like I just mentioned recently, we were born, we getting older, we have some kind of illnesses, and one day we have to go. And no one want to pass away, no one want to be sick, no one want to get older, but that is the physical suffering, no exception. And spiritual suffering, definitely, let's say if somehow our spiritual leaders could not fulfill their responsibility. We have to have suffering. Economic suffering is the up and down of economy. We lost the value of our stock and so forth. And of course, all that includes the mental suffering too that we just discussed about. Now here, the type of suffering here. Physical suffering, sickness or injury, mental or emotional suffering, bereavement, that means sometimes someone passed away, our family members or our close relatives, they pass away, we feel suffer, we miss them. Personal or individual suffering, like depression, sometimes if we fail the test, if we could not get the job that we want to, that's we feel depressed. If we were left over, if no one cared for us, we feel depressed. Here, spiritual suffering, the loss of faith, the sufferings of groups or nation, war, or famines. Then when war happened, like now in UK, like there's a war over there, and in the Middle East too. The social suffering include poverty. If we are poor, we cannot enjoy our life like other wealthy people. And of course, Buddha said that the truth of cause of suffering. So the Buddha said that the suffering is based on the principle of varieties or existence and law of 12 causes. We talk about that later on. But mainly, the Buddha mentioned that the cause sufferings are the greed, hatred, and stupidity. We talk about that. Of course, here in general, the cause of suffering, for example, for us, we create war, we harm each other, we have some kind of selfishness. That's why we don't want to share our wealth with other people. We violate other people's rights. We have become violent people. We create some kind of crimes. We have some kind of personal conflicts with other people. We have personal loss, and sometimes some people like they're homeless. Sometimes we were treated unfairly, and we have poverty. We are poor. So that's human. And here we have what we call the nature suffering, disease, earthquake, flood, death, storms, tornadoes, volcanic eruption, and so forth. So those are the cause of suffering in general, but in Buddhist view, everything starts from within our mind. And of course, the Buddha say that if we have suffering, we don't need to be pessimistic. We can transform the suffering to happiness. That's what we call the truth of extinction of suffering. When we attend to that tranquil state of mind, and the truth of the method of the practice, how to distinguish the suffering that are the Eightfold Paths and self-perfection based on the Bodhisattva way. So these are the charts. And let us move on. Here, we just mentioned about the core substance. We see here the Buddha say the second one is the core substance includes craving, anger, stupidity. So the Buddha mentioned that these are the poison. When we have anger, when we have greed, when we have ignorance, the Buddha said that is poison. For example, nowadays many big companies, they have anger management, because if we have the anger, we may harm ourselves and harm others. This is anger here. The resulted hatred and anger, when the truth and impermanence take away what we really attach to, So this is a hatred. So we can talk days and days about the problems of anger. So you know that some cases what we call the road rage. If someone cut off others in the front car, so they may come down, they may stop their car and shoot each other or fight each other. When they have a kind of anger, they may throw things around, or may drive the car to hit the trees, to hit the house, hit other people. So when we have this kind of problem, the hatred, that's great the problem for us, not great the suffering for us. Let's say if we don't get things that we want to, we'll be angry. And again, greed or craving go hands in hands with anger, because greed is an attachment to things that we like for ourselves, um, and we believe they are permanent. For example, some greedy businessmen, they don't care about their customer. They may not care much about their employees. They just ask, just demand their employees to work overtimes and pay nothing for overtimes, only for the basic salary. And on the top of that, they may charge more for the customer. So if they cannot get what they want, they have the hatred, they have the anger. And of course, everything comes from ignorance. Ignorance doesn't mean that we don't know anything. We know some, but we don't recognize the truth of our system. That's why we have this kind of delusion. Of course, here's are the underdogs, the wisdom that could help or transform our ignorance. The generosity could overcome the greed, the loving kindness could overcome the hatreds. So these are the three main types of mental poison in Buddhism, and of course there's a lot of them, but I just want to mention briefly today. That's all, and we come back for the next one.